My bad. A sex offender, a child sex offender, dressed up like a girl, you know, that would probably not be the best thing we could do, and we're sorry. That was great. They nailed it.
Soy milk is 110% organic, non-GMO.
Oh, check 1, 2. I think I have a good show lined up tonight for you guys. Excited to have you guys here. I'm back on YouTube! Woohoo! Yeah, baby. They can only keep me down for so long. They can only keep me down for so long. Apparently a week. They can keep me down for, officially. Apparently. Oh man, YouTube kind of sucks. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, man. I'm going to try to say nothing that's going to get me kicked off YouTube tonight. Can't make any promises. That's why it's really important for you guys to go to SJG Perspective and follow me there, because they don't kick me off. I can't kick myself off of there. So. Going to be on later after the show with Robert Knorr on his 24-hour live stream over at Robert Knorr, his YouTube channel. You guys probably know Robert, not. He's been doing a 24-hour live stream with a bunch of really cool guests. And so I'm going to go over there after this show is over and do a little stream with him and talk about some things. But hope your guys' week started out good, because God knows it's probably going to end. It could end really great. I just got a text from Rob. You still on for 11? Yes, sir. Streaming right now. Yes, sir. I'm streaming now. And be over after my show. Talking to you guys through that there. Oh, yeah. All right. Do one thing here. I want to get my chat opened up here. How do I do that? Because my chat's not chat app. Boom. Open in browser. Okay. There we go. All right. Is this thing on? Does this work? Does this work? Is my chat working? Maybe it works. All right. Just about ready to go, you guys. We'll go before this 3-minute dealio is up. Probably. We're going to talk tonight about just the whole setup. The whole setup that is coming. Right? All right, sweet. And I'm sounding okay out there. I see you guys. We're going to talk about the setup that is on its way. Let me see if this works here. Log in. What do you mind to log in before we just talk about logging in here? Says I need to log in. Why am I not logged in? What I could do is this, maybe URL. Okay, open in browser. Oh, maybe I need to do that. Sorry, guys. Download Embed in a stream right there. Copy this.
The Democrats months ago were saying there's no crisis at the border. Now there's a crisis.
Maybe that. Let's try this. Yeah, there it is. All right, cool. Got my chat opened up there for when we do chat shout outs. Okay. Okie dokie. Oops. Dang it. I lied. Stay with me. Here's what I need to do. Chat. There we go. Open a browser. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, take it off studio mode and let's get right into this. All right, thank you guys for joining me, working out a couple of the bugs. But anyways, I always am, right? I guess I don't need this on right now. I always feel like it's important if I have the headphones on. Welcome to Monday, SJG Perspective Live. We tonight are going to talk about an article out of the New York Times. What happens if neither Trump nor Biden concedes? This basically, this thing we're going to cover, this article, it's going to cover a lot of other articles or touch on a lot of other articles. And this goes back to, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch my Color Revolution 5-part little series. Basically, it touches on the Transition Integrity Project, but this is from the left's view. And we'll read about how they portray the Transition Integrity Project as being these scholars, these bipartisan scholars, when really they're just deep state anti-Trump coup machines, is all they are. And the level of projection that is being put from the left onto the right is astounding. When you know what's happening and what's going on. Every single thing they accuse you of or accuse us of is exactly what they're doing. They're so transparent. It's pretty fun to watch, actually, sometimes. They're pretty transparent. So, okay. Sounds good, Abaddon. I'm glad you'll be watching. Anyways, so we're going to cover that article. And we're going to do some memes. Before we jump into all that, I just got to plug. I'm not going to give you a bunch of sites and a bunch of stuff that, you buy my special whatever. None of that stuff. Go to sjgperspective.com. sjgperspective.com and subscribe to me there. That's all I'm asking you to do. It's real simple. It's really easy. Just go to SJG Perspective. Subscribe, and there, if you want to donate, if you want to super chat me, I guess, if you will, if you want to buy a shirt or a phone cover, I got some really cool Galaxy phone covers in there, an iPhone. See, I told you I wasn't going to sell you stuff, and here I am. But anyways, it's all there on SJG Perspective, along with show notes and schedule. It's my depot. It's my home. It's my safe space, if you will. All the places you can follow me, all the links are there. You can, sjgperspective.com is the home for you. And please do subscribe, because I just got back on YouTube. But we know that probably me being me, I'm not going to last a real long time on YouTube again. It was my first strike, but they're out. They're out for blood. And it's funny because, quick side note before we jump into this. I was really excited because I'm very close to 4,000 watch hours. And when you get to 4,000 watch hours, you get to be monetized. And it was just something where I knew I wasn't going to, you don't make much money, but people can super chat or whatever. And it just was a thing. I was like, yeah, I want to get monetized, just to be monetized, I guess, there, just to make it, to say I made my 4,000 watch hours, in 1 year's time. And I did it. Well, I'm just about there, maybe 100 hours away. After tomorrow, I'll be over it because I'm going to be streaming pretty much all day tomorrow. But then they sent out all these new updates they have on monetization and how they check your channel out and they manually review your channel and they see what kind of content you have and they see who advertisers would be for you and if you're advertiser friendly. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I'm not getting monetized. But I still, it's just not happening. Let's be real here. That's definitely not going to happen. But so go to SJG Perspective anyways and subscribe. Be a good time. It'll be a good time. So why am I only getting D Live chats? Are they the only ones chatting right now? It could be, man. It could be. Let me see here though, because I may need to refresh it, or I may need to open up my. Are they the only ones? Mute that. Oh no, see, that's. I think what I'll do is I'll pop this one out, and I'll minimize. Yeah, I'll pop that one out. Go back to here. Pop this one up here, and then I'll just do this. Bink and bink. That way I see them both, because it seems like only one's coming through. All right, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah, YouTube does eat poop sometimes. It's pretty true. Okay, all right. So before we do all that, it wouldn't be a SAG stream if we didn't laugh a little bit first, other than looking at my, oh yeah, there it is. It's still working on there, so I can close that. I'd have a bunch of stuff open. All right. Why don't we jump into a little, before we get going, what we normally do is we like to start out laughing, because we're going to get a little serious later, so we like to start out with a little of this action, a little meme time with Steven. Okay? And I do like to listen to the music on this, because it gets me in that mode like I'm in meme time. Okay. See, this is what happens when only some people vote. Voted Best Mexican Restaurant 2019. Taco Bell. Wasn't it a hilarious meme? But come on, they all can't be home runs here. It's a good warm-up. It's a good warm-up. Quit being that way. Trump derangement syndrome, which we're going to see a lot of. Either way, man, we're going to see a lot of this stuff. But there is help available. You can consult a doctor immediately if you are a loved one or are experiencing any of these symptoms. Uncontrollable Twitter rants, rectal thinking, constitutional rashes, blurred vision of Hitler, severe bouts of denial, irony deficiency, loss of kale appetite, liberal groupthink, sleep, whining, inability to rationalize shortness of safe spaces, weight loss, erectile dysfunction, or fear of cheese puffs. It says strikes without warning affecting 9 out of 10 Hollywood liberals and 100% of college snowflakes. You or someone you know may be affected with this debilitating disease. There's help for you. Anyway, that's funny because, again, my little tagline. It's funny because it's true. Oh, Steven Crowder here. He's turned into a meme sensation with this change my mind stuff. Democrats will overthrow democracy the moment they think they can get away with it. Change my mind. No, it's absolutely true, and we're gonna see the actual evidence of all of these war gamings, right, and all these election war games that have been taking place. We're gonna see that actually come to fruition in the real world starting tomorrow. We've already seen it. I mean, and we're going to cover this article that came out today, which basically is everything that the Transition Integrity Project, which is a laughable term, covered, right? But it's absolutely true, and we're going to start seeing that all break out and come to fruition very soon, very shortly. Karl Marx tool shed. It's got a little, sorry about how small these are. Next time I'll make them bigger, but it's got, for those of my podcast listeners, it's a image of Karl Marx in a tool shed, and Biden is hanging on the tool rack because he's a tool. Joe called me Abraham Lincoln one day, then a week later he calls me George. It's kind of funny. Now this is very funny. If you've seen History X, I think, or American X, History X, I don't know what it's called. It's a show with this one dude that the one dude who turns into a total racist. The tolerant left after they meet a black conservative. Starts out all happy, go lucky, fades into American X. So, which was a raging Nazi, right? So there's the funniness about that, is that the left are actually the Nazis most of the time. Most of the time, it's true. Keep your community clean, your country clean. Throwing away a little bit of the old sickle and hammer there, because that is really what's happening right now, guys. I live in Portland. I have driven around there recently, and it is a shithole. It is a communist wasteland down there, and we see it all throughout the country. And these resistance that want to remove Biden or remove Trump and put in Biden. They don't like Biden either, but they will take Biden over Trump because then they know Biden is controllable and Kamala Harris is a puppet. So we need to keep our country clean and throw communism in the trash because it truly is what's trying to be implemented right now. Yeah, it's actually globalism, a globalism communism. But anyways, that's just a stepping stone to the whole globalist takeover. But anyways, this is funny. This is pretty funny. I'll blow that up a little bit. Were the Bidens worth the price? Somebody asking Xi Jinping, whatever his name is. Have you heard Joe blame us for unleashing COVID-19 on the world? Have you? Have you? No, you haven't. You haven't. Because he's in bed with them. And his son is. No pun intended. Oh, pun intended. Definitely pun intended. What you're watching is the most powerful people in America aligning as one to hide legitimate information from the public. I don't. Here's what I think about Tucker Carlson. I like Tucker Carlson right now. I listen to him. I follow him. Everything he says is on point, right, with what I believe. Typically, it's on point. That's what makes me wonder, is he legit? Like, how is he still on the air? With as much truth as he's spitting, it kind of makes me wonder, how is that dude still on the air? I don't know. Things that make you go, His dad was the governor of New York. His brother, this is tweet of the week, by the way. His dad was governor of New York. His brother is one of the top voices on CNN. His state he governs has the most deaths from COVID, and now he will make millions writing a book on it. This is why people hate the elite. That is true. That is so true. American Crisis, Leadership Lessons from COVID-19 Pandemic. Oh, the Comos. Oh, God, I want to kick them in their sack. I just want to kick them right up in their sack balls, man. They are such douche rags. Ugh. 7 months ago, wear a mask. Give us 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Was it 7 months ago? It's got to be more than 7 months ago. I guess it was in March, right? So I guess it would be. See, it seems like a year ago now. It's just been, this is the ride that never ends, man. Just keeps going and going. This is pretty funny. CNN be like, white supremacist Trump attempts to give black child diabetes. It's funny, again, because it's true. That's literally how crazy these SOBs are. It's literally how crazy they are. Well, guys, that has been another little shortened episode of Sometimes we do those memes for a little bit longer, but tonight, like I said, I'm going on a little after 9 with Rob. And knowing me, I only picked one article tonight. I mean, one article that has a lot of sublinks in it that I'll be going to. But I always have this grandiose idea that I'm gonna like cover 3 or 4 articles the way I want to. And I get through one and I'm just like, God dang it. I am no way getting to those other 2 because I've talked way too much and people are done and not ready to listen to me anymore. So tonight, we're going to do little chat room shout outs. So get your chats up here. Get your questions up here if you have any right now. Because we don't have a lot of chats going on right now. This is going to be a quick chat room shout out before we jump into the new segment. Lisi PC, thank you for being here. Abaddon. I don't know why I always have trouble with that name. I do not think Biden is the better choice. I don't know who thinks I said that. If you think Biden is the better choice, you are obviously delusional or need help. Oh, maybe you're just saying in general, if somebody in general thinks that. Biden can't concede. He's going to have that pressure. What? Having Dabination under pressure. I don't know why I can't read that right now, but maybe that's the point. You got the Google prostate exam? Yes, I did. I did, 2 Timothy. I did. And it without the glove. Joaquin Leba. Oh, maybe it's because Joaquin Leba. Joaquin Leby? I'm terrible with names, so I have fun with it. 2020 Biden. Well, yeah, that's such a scary thought. Both of them are just like, oh my God, I have my problems with both of them. Well, I have some problems with Trump. But Biden is hilarious. If somebody actually thinks Biden, of all people, Biden, you think Biden's a good candidate? That is funny to me. That's funny to me. That's got to be a joke. Biden equals a better American. No, I think Joaquin's really feeling that way. That's fine, Joaquin. Hey, we give everybody their space here. Anyways, if you think Biden's a better choice, you are obviously delusional and need help. Okay, sorry. That's from Red Cap going to Joaquin. I'm not, but okay. Okay, so we got Joaquin Leyva. Is it Joaquin? What? Joaquin? Joaquin? I keep thinking of Joaquin Phoenix, but anyways. SAG perspective, the meaning of life, man. Name the thing Biden did in 47 years. Okay, so we got some brawling going on here in the chat, it looks like. I have a right to you do have a right to your opinion, Miss Leyva. I think it's Miss Leyva. You do have a right to your opinion. Freedom of speech. Waiting. Okay. So let's be respectful in the chat. Unless somebody's a total jerk, then you have my permission to light them up. But we're also going to be lighthearted and not overly touchy, and we're going to bust back and forth. And if you like Biden, then we'll probably bust on you a little bit. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean we're trying to tear you down. It just means like, okay, well, we're more Trump supporters for the most part. But I will come right out and say, Joaquin Leyva, that there's plenty of things about Trump that I am not happy with. But good Lord God, I hope he wins tomorrow. The vaccine being one of them. His choices with some of the people he's put around him. There's a lot of suspicious things that make me scratch my head. But when it comes down to tomorrow, geez, sweet Lord God, I hope he wins. And then I'm going to plan my exit out of Oregon. Hopefully things will calm down after a couple months and I can plan my exit out of Oregon. That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right, so that was chat room shout outs. We got Red Cap, Lisi PC, Mohammed, Aloha Snack Bar, Carmageddon, Lisi PC, Red Cap, Joaquin Leyva, Jokin Leyva? I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to butcher your name. I'm just terrible at it. Glad to have you here, Jokin. I don't know how I appreciate you're here, though. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, so. Okay, so I butchered enough names. Let's jump into the article that I want to start reading tonight. Get a little more serious now. Here is why we'll start off right there. I don't know if you guys probably can't read any of that. It's probably really too small for you, so I'll read it to you. Okay, so here is a clip from Victor Davis Hanson succinctly explains the importance of the 2020 election, beginning at 56:06 in this video, Plague, Panic, and Protest, the weird election of 2020. I'm not going to write that video or watch that video right now, but I am going to read his quote. And Mr. and Mrs. Leyva, Trump of racist, he hates black people. Okay, I think Joaquin Leyva may be a troll because that's hilarious. Leyva's a troll, guys, so go easy on him. There's no way he actually thinks that, or they, or Z or Zer. I don't want to assume that I know your gender. So, but Joaquin Leyva, I'm pretty sure is a troll. So let's go easy on him. Trump's not a racist, though. That's funny. This isn't about. So this is before we kick off. Here's a succinct way to put why I'm really hoping that Trump wins tomorrow, and he's got to win by a landslide to make the pain go much less. This isn't about Trump's personality. This is not about George Bush versus Al Gore. It's not even Barack Obama versus John McCain. This is about a radical hijacking of the Democratic Party. And this is telling people that we are going to take the First Amendment as you know it, and it's not going to apply on campuses. We're going to take the Second Amendment as the founders envisioned, and it's not going to apply anymore. The Supreme Court is not going to look the same. The statue in your park is going to be gone. That 1776 date in your mind is going to be Orwellian erased. It's going to be 1619. We're going to change the statues. We're going to change what movie you think you want to watch, Turner Classic Movies, and see Gone with the Wind. It's not going to be there when we get in. This is an effort to systematically, in a Trotskyite fashion, erase our collective memory. and our values and replace it with a totalitarian, radical French revolutionary Jacobin model. I've never seen anything like it, and I've lived through the 60s. I think that was such a Jacobin model. I think that's such a pretty good summation of why I really hope Trump gets in. And then we can deal with the things that I have a real issue with him. We can talk about him, we can deal with him, whatever. The alternative of our binary choices that we're given, it's just not it's just not an option in my mind. Right? It's just not an option. Which leads us into what happens if neither Trump nor Biden concedes. It says our system offers many off-ramps from the roads to disaster. Whether we take one is another question. I don't know if you guys went back and you guys have watched my Color Revolution. It was an article that I read from Whitney Webb. If you guys don't know who Whitney Webb is, you guys need to know who Whitney Webb is. She's bipartisan. She's nonpartisan, very much nonpartisan. A very, very smart, well-researched, investigative journalist. I have nothing but the highest regards for her and her opinions and her research on articles and on situation or on research. My God, she goes deep. If you're looking for somebody who's just going to be a Trump humper, that's not her. But she's also not some leftist progressive either. She's really nonpartisan and just is reporting on the facts. And man, she does a fantastic job. So go back and watch that 5-part little thing on my Color Revolution. I think it sums up a lot of different articles and a lot of different musings on this topic that is rolling out tomorrow, starts tomorrow. Right? This starts tomorrow. And this article came out today, and it basically wraps up and touches on so many things that Whitney talks about in that article. So you need to go listen to it. And I think I have the notes in the video of that article, or the link for that for you to go and read it. It's very important. I would encourage everyone to go and watch it. It's so, so great. So here we go. Let's read this article that came out today from the New York Times. What happens if neither Trump nor Biden concede? With the president refusing to commit a peaceful transition of power, right? And then they highlight this, Trump refusing to, concede power. And they use, they cite themselves, of course. And it says Trump won't commit to a peaceful protest, election power of transfer. And down here it says, President Trump declined an opportunity on Wednesday to endorse a peaceful transfer of power after the November election, renewing his baseless warnings about extensive voting fraud. Not baseless at all, very much so backed in fact and backed in truth throughout the country, from local elections to regional or state elections, all the way up to the national elections. There's been many, many cases of it. And it's ridiculous if you think that the left hasn't been pushing for essence or voter fraud or for voter tampering, if you will, by pushing for in the consensus for the redistricting and for illegal immigration. Give me a break, man. But where they pull this from here is when President Trump said on Wednesday that we're going to have to see what happens when asked about peacefully transitioning power. And he basically said, frankly, there won't be a transfer. There'll be a continuation. And so they're taking that to say that he says he's not going to back down from power, when in reality, what he was saying is, I'm going to win the election. It's just going to continue. We'll just have to see what happens. But it'll probably be, frankly, a continuation, meaning I'm just going to stay in power. And they take that like, oh, my God, Trump said he's not going to step down. He's not going to step down. So right here, right out of the get-go, they're so disingenuous when they're saying that Trump is is refusing to commit to a peaceful transfer. No, he was just being his arrogant, egotistical self a little bit, and saying, frankly, it'll be a continuation. Frankly, I think it's just going to be a continuation. They're going to continue. We'll continue right through. It'll be wonderful, fabulous, best continuation ever. It's going to be huge, huge. So nice. President refusing to commit to a peaceful trend, not true. A number of commentators have, but see what they're doing. They're going to be doing this all the way through this article. dropping the hints, dropping the painting the picture, pushing the bias that it's the right and it's Trump that is messing with the election, when in reality it couldn't be farther from the truth. The messing with the election, the pushing of the of voter fraud and the screwing with our election is almost entirely coming from the left. It is almost 100% projection from the left, and how much corruption they're trying to push onto the right, saying it's the Republicans. Everything is so clear when you look into it that it's the left doing it. They're wonderful at projection. A number of commentators have even been sounding the alarm. It says sounding the alarm. And what have they been sounding the alarm of? Saying this, they've been saying where the system may break. A war game exercise simulating the 2020 election unmasked some key vulnerabilities. Earlier this summer, 67 former government officials and academic students of government gathered over 4 sessions of a nonpartisan transition integrity project to analyze questions. This is actually the opposite of what this implies. That these were some non-biased 67 former government officials, and as it says here, they are legal scholars in a group called the Transition Integrity Project. Go back and watch that episode that I did, right? And then look at the notes and read Whitney Webb's article on this and track what she dug out. This started day one of the presidency and when he was inaugurated. They went down, the founders of this integrity project, George Soros backed, legitimately George Soros backed, people that have been with deep connections to deep state, deep connections to the CIA, deep connections to fomenting unrest and coups and color revolutions. Those are the people that are behind the Transition Integrity Project. And it's the last thing in the world integrity has to do with when it comes to this project, right? Have been examining the ways in which the machinery could fail, right? They're saying, well, how it's being engineered to fail. And they link to this article right here from Vox, from Vox of all places. How to avert a post-election nightmare. A war game that tried to simulate the 2020 transition ended in violence. One of its organizers explains how to prevent that. This is what the New York Times is linking to this article from Vox. Yeah, that's a pretty non-biased source. Imagine that after a narrow Joe Biden victory in November. Now, I want you to listen to this. Imagine that after a narrow Joe Biden victory in November's election, Donald Trump refuses to concede defeat, citing, among other things, alleged voter fraud in mail-in ballots. Imagine that this goes on for months, right up until Inauguration Day in January. Imagine the huge protests in the streets on both sides, massive unrest that police are unable or unwilling to contain. Imagine that some armed pro-Trump supporters, furious with what they see as a coup attempt, take matters into their own hands. Again, you're going to see this constantly, them trying to paint the right as the angry ones, as the aggressors, as the dangerous ones. Are people boarding up their streets because they're worried about Trump supporters rioting? No. Has it been Trump supporters burning the country down? No. Has it been Trump supporters in Portland for 150 days or whatever it was, 120 days, rioting every single night, spray painting and tearing shit down? No, it's the left. It's the far left. All this is projection. Now imagine the exact opposite of this. Then you have what has been in the works and the plan for the last 3 years with the authors and the organizers of the Transition Integrity Project. Imagining everything I just read, it's in the exact flip-flop. That's what's getting planned, and it's a psyop because they own the media, they control the media, they own all of the media, they own all of the politicians, a large percentage of them, and the celebrity Hollywood. All of those are on the side of the left, and they're getting behind their puppet Biden, and this is the left pushing all this stuff and blaming it on the right. That's what's going to happen. That's what's been happening, and it's about ready to really ramp up and happen. Having examined the ways the machinery could fail and the nightmare scenarios gamed out, they're hair-raising. But while looking at some points in gamed out, this one is the article planned out, really is what they meant. Trump's strategy is not to win, it's to invalidate their election results. complete and total projection and gaslighting from the left. From the Washington Post, Trump's strategy is not to win, it's to invalidate the election results. No, that is exactly what the left is doing. It's complete projection. If this was a fair election against Biden and we weren't doing stupid mail-in voting off the chart, we were just doing our normal absentee ballots, and it was a straight up election, go to the polls and vote, it would be a landslide. Trump would get 300 electorals. It'd be 306 electorals, man. It would be a landslide if he was running on Biden straight up. If it was a straight up competition, it would not even be remotely close. But while looking at some points, possible legal failures is a useful exercise. It neglects an important question: who has the power to concede? Ultimately, all democratic transitions are based on one side being willing to concede power to the other. Without a concession at some stage, power must be allocated by force. Either the military must decide, or there is a civil war, which is what they've been gaming, is what they've been pushing, it's what they've been wanting. There is a growing concern that the United States may be arriving at a moment where a concession is no longer achievable. But if this is the case, this is ultimately a problem with the state of American politics, not its legal machinery. To the extent that the electoral machinery matters, the American system is in many ways surprisingly robust. In ordinary presidential systems elsewhere, an election commission announces the outcome. Then, the political spotlight shifts immediately to the defeated candidate, who must make the crucial decision: will they accept the results? It's a democracy's most defining and most perilous moment. By comparison, America's electoral machinery, for all its oddities and its flaws, and when it says its flaws, the way they frame this, the way they're pointing out and they're framing this, is basically about the Electoral College, right? And go back here to this one. They pull up. It's really talking about the electoral, why the Electoral College is the absolute worst explained. So they're going into saying this, the way they phrase that. By comparison, America's electoral machinery, for all its oddities and flaws, saying, again, this is the push of the left, this whole article, and we know it's the New York Times. Of course it's going to be coming from the left. It's a hardcore person from the left. But see, this is one of the major mouthpieces of the left. And so what they're doing is they're linking to all these different articles that tie it all together. The Transition Integrity Project, stuff from Vox, stuff from Slate, stuff from all these other, these academic abstracts or papers written by all these really smart professors, left hardcore leaning professors. They're painting all of this out to say this is all coming from the right, and they are risking and putting at risk our very constitutional foundings, our fibers of our Constitution. They're putting it at risk, and they're pushing it off onto the right. When you honestly, when you do the research on this and you do read on this, and if it was, man, I'm not so partisan that I couldn't say, no, that's BS because ultimately, I'm conservative, but I am conservative because I believe in the Constitution, and I believe in the Bill of Rights, and I believe in the freedom of expression, the freedom of protecting yourself, the ability to have small government. These are the reasons why I'm conservative, right? So when you take, if it was my side doing it, I would call their shit out. I guarantee you I would. But it's not when you look into this. It never Trumpers and far left people that are like, we hate this son of a bitch, and we need to get him out. We need to figure out a way to get him out. And so anyways, this article is painted from a very left side, a very left-leaning side, where they're going to say, oh, see, the Electoral College, it's bad. I mean, for all their flaws with the Electoral College. And if you're not a moron, you understand why we have the Electoral College. You understand that's so that the coastal states can't dictate for the rest of the flyover country how their life's going to be. It gives everyone an equal voice, every state an equal voice. Offers greater systemic safeguards. What elsewhere is a single decision by an individual is in the United States spread out and over up to 2.5 months, set within a labyrinth of array of legal procedures that vest the power to concede in a vast number of actors across the constitutional system. We've just never really had it go that far because it's always been pretty clear cut. And we've had some bit of civility between the two parties and care about the country, but we don't have that anymore because there is an attempt to fall America, to crash America, to bring America to its knees. And it is a Marxist agenda. Do not be mistaken. Do not fool yourself. It is a postmodern fueled anti-God agenda, Marxist agenda to bring this country to its knees, because you can't usher in a global hegemony. Thank you very much. You can't enter in a global governing global power to rule the world within a strong America. And it's absolute. That's not tinfoil hat anymore. If you're mocking me right now, and I'm not even looking at the comments, because if you're mocking me, that you think that's like, oh my God, a global one world order, global bling, bling, bloom, bloom, blah. Why don't you just read on the Great Reset, read about the Great Reset or Agenda 2030, and then you can come back to me and try to tell me that I'm making stuff up right now, right? Because I'm not. That's exactly what they want, and that's exactly what we're seeing rolled out. This from the COVID. The COVID kicked all this off, biggest psyop that'll go down in history, right? But they're capitalizing on that. And this plan has been in the works for years, before COVID even got here. Anyway, any presidential election in the United States takes place in 2 stages. Notice when this abstract was written. So it says, any presidential election in the United States takes place in 2 stages. So they're getting this from, they link to this article here, which is a preparation for a disputed presidential election. Preparing for a disputed presidential election, an exercise in election risk assessment and management. This was posted in September of 2019, and it was updated in March of 2020. So back in September, before we had a virus, before the world was coming to an end, before we were in lockdown, all of a sudden they had a scientific paper written by Edward B. Foley, right? Social science, probably a political science paper written on preparing for a disputed presidential election. Before any of the crazy, it was all business. That was back in the old normal, the old good normal. This paper was written. Wonder why they were writing it back then. Wonder if this plan had been in the works and they knew what was coming and what they were going to roll out, and they wanted to get their ducks in a row, so to speak, right? Any presidential election in the United States takes place in 2 stages. The voting counting stage at the state level ahead of the Electoral College vote in mid-December, and a second stage in January when Congress counts the electoral votes. The first stage involves innumerable local and state officials and courts. If even a small number of these actors break partisan ranks, they can effectively concede the election. A governor that certifies results supporting the opposing party, a judicial ruling that both sides obey to agree. State legislatures in the United States have an untested reserve power that allows them to ignore their state's vote and appoint themselves electors. They are setting the stage to point at Trump for this, when in fact the left is gaslighting this. It says the United States have an untested reserve power that allows them to ignore the state's vote and appoint electors themselves. They're saying Trump's going to do this, but they're setting the stage and they're gaslighting because this is exactly what the left has in the works. This has been portrayed as a grave danger to the system, providing yet another way for a presidential election to go off the rails. But it also serves to imbue even more actors within the system with the powers to concede. A very small group of state legislators can break partisan ranks and yield an election on behalf of presidential candidates. The 2000 election was arguably the closest in history. Decided by Florida by a margin of 0.01%. So close that we will never know. Not true. Actually, they went back and they cleared all that up after Gore had lost and conceded. It was close, but Bush would have won that one actually anyways. They did clear that up. This is not true when they say that. They actually did clear it up. Bush did win. Anyways. Media recounts months later concluded that the results would change depending on which counting method was even used. Even so, concession occurred before the second stage. Again, here they're saying They're setting the stage. I think they're worried that Trump's going to win on election night, and then they got to set the stage that he's not really won on election night. Everything they're accusing the right of, they're doing, and they're so guilty of themselves. It's complete projection. The next stage, when Congress convenes in January to count the electoral votes, provide further opportunities for concession. If a state's electoral votes are disputed, the House and Senate meet separately to adjudicate the controversy. A potentially small number of representatives or senators can break rank, conceding the election by agreeing to resolve the dispute in favor of the other party. There is potentially dangerous legal ambiguity here. If the House and Senate arrive at a different decision, the law governing the proceedings is unclear about how to reconcile them, with the potential for an unresolvable constitutional deadlock. This is where we're headed. I really fear this is exactly where we're headed. But while legally dangerous, politically this ambiguity, along with the deadline of Inauguration Day, only serves to ratchet up the pressure to fold. The vice president who presides over the vote count may have a last opportunity to concede a disputed election by choosing to resolve this ambiguity in favor of the opposing party. The process culminates in an official pronouncement of the next duly elected president by the vice president, with the Speaker of the House by his side. So basically what they're saying there is, if Trump refused to concede, Pence, let's say in the case that Trump wins, right, and they contest it, then Pence could decide, okay, you know what? The country's going to burn, so we're going to give in and give it to Biden. Or he could say, nope, Trump won, and give it to Trump, and then whatever. The biggest thing about this whole article, and I have it in my show notes, so go and read it, because I got to get out of here in about 10 minutes. I want to pontificate on a few of these things without just reading everything word for word. Go on to read how this breaks down. Do a little homework. The show notes are on my website. In show notes, you can go to an icon, click on the icon, and open a link and open this up. But here's the thing. What the left is doing right now is they're preparing everyone with the COVID coming back in, with the cases skyrocketing, with our contested election that's most likely going to happen starting tomorrow, with the violence and the rampaging in the street that's going to take place, it's taking place, and is only going to get way more furious, right? With all of that combined, and then the cases of the COVID and countries going back into lockdown, states ratcheting back down, they're setting everything up for what they call a dark winter. Right. I have also a link in my blog on my website called, you'll see it. It's a dark winter. Watch that 12-minute video. This is all by design. The next coming months are going to be historic in our history. Historical. Going to make a lot of history is what I'm trying to say there. And it's for, I don't know how it ends up. I want to say I hope I know, and I want to say what I think is going to happen, or what I hope is going to happen. But the fact of the matter is, there is so much interference taking place right now. There is so much bad faith taking place from the media, from the left. How do you seriously think Joe Biden is a legit candidate? I really feel like it's the deep state, or whoever you want to call it, the selectors, mocking us, laughing. Because how do you take Joe Biden as a serious candidate? There are a lot of things you can say about Trump, and I'm right there with you. When he won in 2016, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that guy won. I don't like the way he talks. I think he sounds a little stupid at times when he says things. I'm just like, oh God. I like when he pushes on I don't mind when he tweets so much. I think it's funny. I think it's funny when he pushes back, and encouraging, actually, more than funny, when he doesn't give a crap about political correctness, because I think political correctness is a cancer. My point in saying what I'm saying tonight is, there's a lot to this that has been in the works for a long time. If you don't know that, if you don't understand that, then my friends, you're not paying attention, or you're completely ignorant, or you're completely blinded, and you refuse. You refuse. So I hope you guys can open up. I know where everyone's talking about this, but it's like really going to happen. So when you start reading these articles and when you start hearing the pundits tomorrow night, know that this has been planned. Know that this has been planned. Go and do the research or read that paper from Whitney Webb, right? You can go find it in my videos that I posted prior to this one. It's the Color Revolution 5-part series. It's in there. The article is in there. Go read that article, right? Go follow some of the Last American Vagabond. Some of the things that he said. He doesn't like Trump, right? But they're very good investigative journalists on some of these topics. If you really want just a clear synopsis, if you guys haven't watch the Glenn Beck episode, The Color Revolution. He laid it out in a couple of videos, 45-minute videos. Say whatever you want to about Glenn Beck. Forget the personality. Look at what he's saying. Listen to the information they're presenting. This is a color revolution we're seeing take place. It's planned, it's organized, and it's made to look like an organic coup, an organic uprising. It could not be anything farther from the truth. And so, I probably could have got off this smaller video and showed you my wonderful, beautiful face a little closer when I was just monologuing there. All right, guys, I'm going over to Robert Knorr's channel after this, and we're going to talk. So I'd love it if you guys came over there. But let me read a few of these chats out. We got a lot of people in here tonight. So pardon me if I don't, if I miss anybody here. But the Kraken, we got the Kraken. Mohammed Aloha Snack Bar, Reese. Dakota Hayes, hello. Carmageddon, Dave Simmons, Rule. I don't Duarte. I'm terrible with names, guys. I really am. Easy, Leasy Peasy. That rhymed. Who else? Heart of Texas. XJet, nice to see you. I don't know, man. I think I've got a lot of the people are repeating here as we go through. Trying to see if I missed anybody. Man, got a lot of good chats going on here. So happy to see that. Okay, so how many people we got over in D Live? I need to go over there and release the Kraken, don't I? Before we leave. If you guys are not on D Live, you guys need to be on D Live. Most of the people are on YouTube, I see. There's only 5 people over on D Live. I would love to have more people on paying attention on D Live. I don't have enough money to give you guys. Sorry. I'm broke. I would have given you some if you guys would have donated some, but I don't have enough to give you, so we got no Kraken to release. Please follow me at sjgperspective.com. On there has all my links for where you can, find me at. Odyssey is a great place right now. If you guys are sick of YouTube or the censorship, Odyssey or LBRY is the app you have to download, which is Odyssey too, but odyssey.com. DLive is a place that I do all my streaming too. Obviously Twitter and Facebook and all those other ones. All my links are on there. Please subscribe though. I'm never going to spam you. Never going to send you unwanted emails. Just going to let you know what's going on. And if I got something new happening, I'll shoot you something once in a while. Also, I wanted to shout out. I need a logo. Okay, here. So I got 31 people. I don't know if I got any designers in the audience or, graphic designers or people that want to take a shot at designing a logo. But you can forward them to me at sjgperspective@gmail.com if you want to do that. The winning logo gets put on a shirt, and the winning person who makes the logo gets the shirt. I buy the shirt for you. And will be, obviously, my new logo. So SJG Perspective, it's kind of like without fear or animus, without F&A. It's kind of my thing, my tagline. But if some people want to play around with the logo designs and throw them my way, you could win yourself a shirt and have the new SJG Perspective logo. So that'd be cool. So sjgperspective.com. Subscribe. Email me there. And you guys all head over to Robert Knorr's channel right now. I'm going over there. And I appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. We will talk to you on Wednesday. Wednesday is my next stream, and I'll be streaming tomorrow, actually. I'll be streaming the election stuff tomorrow, so look out for that. for a long time, many hours tomorrow. So that should be fun. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone that stopped by and is hanging out, and we will see you Wednesday. Have a great rest of your evening, and hope I see you over at Rob's. Without further animus, it's SJG Perspective. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.